Republicans usually are somewhat subtle in the way they support corporations. So, for example, Mitch McConnell will go and meet with the Wall Street bankers and say, we would like your money, and we'll literally tell them, you gave money to the Democrats and that was a mistake because they're not protecting you as well as we would. Now, that gets it into the Wall Street Journal, but then when he's challenged on it, he'll say, no, I don't want to protect the big banks, I just want to protect the community banks in Kentucky, my home state. You see, I mean, to us it's pretty obvious, but for the mainstream media, that's good enough. They're like, oh, Mitch McConnell looking to protect the community banks in Kentucky, and they run with it, right? Well, Joe Barton today, Republican from Texas, screwed up because he lost that subtlety. And as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh, that was a mistake. Okay, he just came out and it, basically admitted who he works for, which is the giant oil companies. Tony Hayward, the CEO of BP, is in front of him in a hearing in the House, and he's going to apologize to him. The government is going to apologize to BP. Let's find out why. Let's go to clip number 1.
I'm speaking now totally for myself. I'm not speaking for the Republican Party. I'm not speaking for anybody in the House of Representatives but myself. But I'm ashamed of what happened in the White House yesterday. I think it is a tragedy of the first proportion that a private corporation can be subjected to what I would characterize as a shakedown. In this case, a $20 billion shakedown, with the Attorney General of the United States, who is legitimately conducting a criminal investigation and has every right to do so to protect the interests of the American people, participating in what amounts to a $20 billion slush fund that's unprecedented in our nation's history, that's got no legal standing, and which sets, I think, a terrible precedent for the future. If I called you into my office and I had the subcommittee chairman, Mr. Stupak, with me, who was legitimately conducting an oversight investigation on your company, and said, if you put so many millions of dollars in a project in my congressional district, I could go to jail and should go to jail. Now, there is no question that British Petroleum owns this lease. There is no question that BP, I'm sorry, it's not British Petroleum anymore, that BP made decisions that objective people think compromise safety. There is no question that BP is liable for the damages. But we have a due process system where we go through hearings, in some cases court cases, litigation, and determine what those damages are and when those damages should be paid. So I'm only speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for anybody else, but I apologize. I do not want to live in a country where any time a citizen or a corporation does something that is legitimately wrong is subject to some sort of political pressure that is, again, in my words, amounts to a shakedown. So I apologize.
Unreal. So BP does the worst environmental disaster in the United States history, and there is this pathetic congressman, this politician, who's taken money, you're going to be shocked to find out, from the oil and gas industry his whole career. I'm going to tell you the numbers in a second. Just begging him, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry we tried to hold you accountable. I know you bought me and my job was to fight back. I just wish I could have fought back against the Obama administration a little more. I'm sorry they held you accountable. I failed you, Mr. Boss Man. And that's his boss. You see, Joe Barton doesn't work for you if you're in Texas, if you're in his district. He works for oil and gas. All right, let's give you the numbers. So Joe Barton, just since 2009 alone, has received $100,470 in political contributions from oil and gas interests. Over the course of his career, he has gotten $1.4 million from the oil and gas industry. Gee, I wonder why Joe Barton apologizes to BP. He's sorry he couldn't deliver for the job they hired him for, which was to protect them from ever paying for anything. Make sure all the costs go to the taxpayers. Well, we're not done yet. Notice he said in there, this would set a terrible precedent. Why does he care about the precedent? Well, it turns out, of course, that one of the top contributors for Joe Barton's campaigns, and from '89 to 2010, gave him $146,500, is Anadarko Petroleum, who's also apparently involved in this oil spill. And BP has already asked them to contribute for their negligence involved in the spill. What Barton doesn't want to happen is, oh, if we set this precedent with BP being responsible, they might come after one of my top contributors and hold them responsible for their share too. Well, I don't want to do that. I want to protect Anadarko Petroleum. Man, they are so obvious. Look, I'm telling you, conservatives, for the millionth time, these guys don't work for you. They work for corporate America. They work for the people who pay their bills, and it's in this case, the oil and gas companies. And he doesn't give a damn what happens to your beaches, to your livelihood, or to your states. He just likes getting paid.